You're sitting in a crowded room right now, surrounded by people, and yet you've never felt more alone. The laughter around you sounds distant, like it's coming from another world. You smile when you're supposed to, nod at the right moments, but inside there's this hollow ache that won't go away. Or maybe you're home alone again, scrolling through your phone, watching everyone else's connections, their celebrations, their belonging, and that familiar weight settles on your chest. The silence in your space isn't peaceful. It's deafening. It echoes with all the conversations you're not having, all the connections you're not making, all the love you're not feeling. You know this feeling intimately, don't you? This loneliness that follows you like a shadow, that wraps around you like a cold blanket, even in the warmest rooms. I see you there, feeling like you're on the outside looking in at life. I see you wondering what's wrong with you, why you can't seem to find your place, your people, your purpose. And I'm here to tell you something that might transform everything. Your loneliness isn't your enemy. It's your teacher. It's not your weakness. It's your untapped power. For decades, I've explored the deepest paradoxes of human existence. In my work, particularly in The Power of Intention and Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, I've discovered that what we perceive as our greatest struggles often contain our greatest gifts. I've witnessed thousands of people just like you, souls who felt disconnected and isolated, transform their loneliness into the most profound source of strength and inner peace they've ever known. What I'm about to share with you isn't about fixing your loneliness or making it go away. It's about understanding what your loneliness is really trying to tell you and how to alchemize it into something golden. A deep, unshakable connection with yourself and the infinite intelligence that flows through all life. You've been taught that loneliness is something to be ashamed of, haven't you? That it's a sign of failure, of not being likable enough, interesting enough, worthy enough. You've been told that if you were better somehow, you wouldn't feel this way. So you hide it. You pretend. You stay busy. You numb yourself with distractions. But the loneliness remains, growing stronger in the darkness, where you've pushed it. But what if I told you that your loneliness is actually a sacred invitation? What if it's not a punishment, but a pathway? What if the very thing you've been running from is the doorway to the peace you've been seeking? Think about this for a moment. The deepest spiritual teachers throughout history, Buddha, Jesus, Rumi, Lao Tzu, they all spent significant time alone. They sought solitude. They understood something that our modern world has forgotten. Being alone and being lonely are not the same thing. In fact, until you can be alone, right now you're confusing loneliness with aloneness. Loneliness is the feeling that you're disconnected, that you don't belong, that something essential is missing. But aloneness, true aloneness, is the recognition that you are whole, complete, connected to everything, even when you're by yourself. See, loneliness isn't really about other people. It's about your relationship with yourself. It's about the fact that you've abandoned yourself while looking for validation, connection, and love outside. You've been searching the world for what can only be found within. I want you to really hear this. Every moment of loneliness is a moment when your soul is calling you home to yourself. It's not saying, go find someone to fill this void. It's saying, come back to me. Remember who you are. Discover the companion you've always had within. As I wrote in Your Erroneous Zones, we create our own emotional states through our thoughts. Your loneliness isn't caused by your circumstances. It's caused by your interpretation of those circumstances. You're not lonely because you're alone. You're lonely because you believe being alone means something is wrong with you. But here's what's actually happening when you feel lonely. Your ego, that part of you that believes you're separate from everything else, is panicking. It's recognizing its own illusion. Because the truth is, you're never actually alone. You're connected to every living thing, to the entire universe, to the source of all creation. Your loneliness is your ego's resistance to this truth. Let me tell you about James. He came to one of my workshops after his divorce, feeling utterly alone. He'd built his entire identity around being a husband, a social person, someone who was always surrounded by others. When that fell apart, he didn't know who he was. The silence in his apartment terrified him. He filled every moment with noise, TV, podcasts, phone calls, anything to avoid being alone with himself. I asked him, "What are you afraid you'll find if you sit quietly with yourself?" He couldn't answer at first. Then, with tears in his eyes, he said, "I'm afraid I'll find out that I'm nothing, that without others, I don't exist." That's when I knew he was on the verge of a breakthrough. Because that fear, that's exactly where the transformation happens. When you're willing to face that void, to sit with that nothingness, you discover that you're not nothing. You're everything. You're connected to the infinite intelligence that creates worlds. Right now, I want you to understand something crucial about your loneliness. It's not happening to you. It's happening for you. It's preparing you for a level of self-connection and inner peace that you can't access any other way. It's stripping away all the false identities, all the external validations, all the distractions, so you can discover who you really are. You've been using other people as mirrors to tell you who you are. You've been using relationships as proof that you're lovable. You've been using social connections as evidence that you matter. But what happens when those mirrors aren't there? You panic. You feel lost. You feel lonely. But this is exactly where your power lies. Because when you stop needing others to reflect your worth back to you, when you stop requiring external validation to feel complete, you become truly free. You become a source of love rather than a seeker of love. You become whole rather than half of something. In the shift, I talked about moving from ambition to meaning. Your loneliness is calling you to make a similar shift from seeking connection outside yourself to discovering the infinite connection within yourself. This isn't about becoming a hermit or rejecting relationships. It's about changing your relationship with being alone. I want you to try something right now. Place your hand on your heart, feel it beating. That heartbeat, that's not yours alone. That's the rhythm of life itself pulsing through you. The same force that beats your heart, moves the tides, grows the trees, spins the planets. You're not separate from life. You are life, expressing itself in human form. When you truly understand this, loneliness becomes impossible. How can you be lonely when you're connected to everything? How can you be isolated when you're part of the infinite fabric of existence? How can you be alone when the entire universe lives within you? But I know what you're thinking. That sounds beautiful in theory, but I still feel lonely. I still crave connection. I still want to belong somewhere. And that's perfectly natural. We're social beings. We're wired for connection. But here's what you need to understand. The quality of your connections with others is directly proportional to the quality of your connection with yourself. When you're lonely, you approach relationships from a place of neediness. You're looking for someone to complete you, to fill your void, to make you feel whole. But this creates relationships based on dependency, not love. It attracts people who are also looking to fill their own voids. Two half people don't make a whole relationship. They make a codependent mess. But when you transform your loneliness into self-connection, when you find peace within your own being, everything changes. You approach relationships from fullness, not emptiness. You share your love rather than seeking love. You give from abundance rather than taking from need. And ironically, this is when you attract the deepest, most meaningful connections of your life. Your loneliness is showing you where you've abandoned yourself. Every time you feel that ache, it's pointing to a place where you're not fully present with yourself. Maybe you're rejecting parts of yourself you think aren't good enough. Maybe you're so focused on what's missing that you can't see what's here. Maybe you're so busy running from yourself that you've forgotten how to simply be. As Rumi wrote, your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. Your loneliness is one of those barriers. It's the wall you've built between yourself and the love that you are. I want you to understand the sacred opportunity in your loneliness. Every moment you spend alone is a chance to deepen your relationship with yourself. Every quiet evening is an invitation to discover the peace within you. Every time you feel that ache of disconnection, it's your soul saying, "Come home. I'm waiting for you here." But this requires courage. It requires you to stop running from the silence. It requires you to sit with yourself without distractions, without numbing, without filling every moment with noise. It requires you to face the parts of yourself you've been avoiding. You know what I'm talking about. The thoughts you don't want to think. The feelings you don't want to feel. The questions you don't want to answer. You've been using busyness and social activities and relationships to avoid this inner confrontation. But your loneliness won't let you hide anymore. This is the gift of loneliness. It forces you inward. It removes all the escape routes until the only direction left is in. And when you finally turn inward, when you finally face yourself fully, that's when the magic happens. That's when you discover that you're not empty. You're full. You're not broken. You're whole. You're not alone. You're all one. When you judge another, you do not define them, you define yourself. I've often said the same is true for loneliness. When you judge your loneliness as bad or wrong, you're not defining loneliness. You're defining your relationship with yourself as bad or wrong. You're saying that being with yourself isn't enough. You're saying that you're not enough, but you are enough. You've always been enough. The loneliness you feel is just the space between who you think you are and who you really are. It's the gap between your ego's story of separation and your soul's truth of connection. And that gap is calling you to bridge it. Right now, I want you to make a radical shift in how you see your loneliness. Instead of seeing it as emptiness, see it as spaciousness. Instead of seeing it as isolation, see it as invitation. Instead of seeing it as punishment, see it as preparation. Preparation for the deepest peace you've ever known. Because here's what happens when you stop resisting your loneliness and start embracing it. You discover that being alone is not lonely, it's liberating. You find that silence is not empty, it's full of presence. You realize that solitude is not isolation, it's integration. Think about the most peaceful people you know. They're not the ones constantly surrounded by others, desperately filling every moment with social activity. They're the ones who have made peace with themselves They're the ones who can sit quietly without needing to escape. They're the ones who have transformed their loneliness into luminosity. This transformation is available to you too, right now. Not when you find the right relationship, not when you have more friends, not when your circumstances change. Right now, in the midst of your loneliness, the doorway to peace is open. But you have to be willing to walk through it. You have to be willing to stop seeing loneliness as the problem and start seeing it as the path. You have to be willing to stop seeking peace outside yourself and start cultivating it within. I want you to try something this week. Set aside time each day to be alone, truly alone. No phone, no TV, no books, no distractions. Just you and the silence. At first, it might feel uncomfortable. Your mind might race. You might feel anxious or restless. That's okay. That's just your ego resisting. But if you stay with it, something shifts. The noise in your mind starts to settle. The anxiety starts to dissolve. And underneath all that mental chatter, you find something extraordinary, a vast, peaceful presence that has always been there, waiting for you to notice it. This is your true nature. This is who you are. Beneath all the stories, all the roles, all the seeking, this is the peace that surpasses all understanding, and it's always available to you, especially in your loneliness. You see, loneliness is not your enemy. It's your excavator. It's digging through all the layers of false identity, all the accumulated debris of who you think you should be, to uncover the diamond of who you really are. Every moment of loneliness is removing another layer, bringing you closer to your essence. In Wishes Fulfilled, I wrote about the power of imagination and assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. What if you assume the feeling of being deeply connected, deeply at peace, deeply whole, not because of external circumstances, but because that's your true nature? What if you stopped waiting for loneliness to end and started using it as a doorway to discover the connection that never ends? Your loneliness is showing you that you've been looking for yourself in all the wrong places. You've been searching for your reflection in other people's eyes instead of looking within. You've been seeking your worth in external validation instead of recognizing your inherent value. You've been trying to find peace in constant stimulation instead of discovering it in stillness. But now you know better. Now you understand that your loneliness is not a curse, it's a compass. It's pointing you home. It's showing you the way back to yourself. It's inviting you to discover the greatest love affair of your life, the one with your own soul. Every spiritual tradition speaks of this journey, the dark night of the soul, the wilderness experience, the cave of the heart. They all point to the same truth. Sometimes you have to be alone to discover that you're never alone. Sometimes you have to face the void to find your fullness. Sometimes you have to embrace the darkness to discover your light. You're in that sacred space right now. Your loneliness has brought you to the threshold of transformation. You can keep resisting it, keep running from it, keep trying to fill it with external things, or you can turn toward it, embrace it, and let it teach you what it came to teach. Because here's the ultimate truth. When you find peace within your aloneness, you become a beacon for others. When you transform your loneliness into self-connection, you become a source of connection for everyone around you. When you discover the love within yourself, you become love itself. This is how you turn your loneliness into power, not by conquering it, but by surrendering to its wisdom, not by filling it, but by entering it fully, not by escaping it, but by embracing it as the sacred teacher it is. The mystic poet Hafiz wrote, Don't surrender your loneliness so quickly. Let it cut more deep. Let it ferment and season you as few human or even divine ingredients can. Your loneliness is seasoning you. It's preparing you. It's transforming you into someone who can hold space for others, because you've learned to hold space for yourself. Right now, in this moment, you have a choice. You can continue to see your loneliness as evidence that something is wrong with you, or you can see it as evidence that something is right with you, that your soul is calling you to a deeper truth, a higher connection, a more authentic way of being. Your loneliness is not asking you to find someone to complete you. It's asking you to complete yourself. It's not telling you that you need others to be happy. It's showing you that happiness is your nature, available right now, in this moment, alone or with others. As you move forward from here, remember this. Every moment of loneliness is a moment of potential awakening. Every time you feel that ache of separation, you're being invited to remember your connection. Every experience of isolation is an opportunity to discover your integration with all life. You are not alone. You have never been alone. You will never be alone. The loneliness you feel is just the last layer of illusion dissolving. On the other side of that dissolution is the peace you've been seeking. Not the peace of never being alone, but the peace of being at home with yourself wherever you are. Turn your loneliness into power by recognizing it as the spiritual initiation it is. Find inner peace by discovering that you are the peace you seek. Transform your isolation into illumination by understanding that you are the light you're looking for. The journey from loneliness to peace is not a journey outward, it's a journey inward. It's not about finding the right people, it's about finding yourself. It's not about filling the void, it's about discovering that the void is full of infinite potential. Your loneliness has brought you to this moment. It has stripped away everything that isn't essential. It has removed all the distractions. Now, in this sacred space of aloneness, you can finally hear the whisper of your soul, "Welcome home. I've been waiting for you. You are loved. You are whole. You are peace itself. This is your moment. This is your transformation. This is your loneliness becoming your power, your isolation becoming your illumination, your emptiness becoming your everything. The peace you seek is not on the other side of loneliness. It's in the very heart of it, waiting for you to arrive. Come home to yourself. The door is open. Peace is here.